foods that come in to our lives as we move around with us. So we're going to talk about the food today within the context of Mishlach Manot and Sudat Mitzvah, which are two of the four mitzvot, in addition to listening to the Megillah and Matinat Devarim, giving gifts to the poor. But we're gonna look at some different foods. We're going to be making something called kalvis di Aman. And you'll notice from Aman, you have the sense of Haman's name. It's a traditional food in Bulgaria. The idea is that both eggs and olives symbolize rebirth and death. So this features a very, very thin pasta that's considered Haman's hair, in a lemon sauce with the eggs and the olives in it. It's usually eaten room temperature, and this is my adaptation of a Claudia Rodin recipe. Then we're also, speaking of Bulgaria, going to be making a beet and yogurt salad, which is layered so that we're going to hide the yogurt under the beets, and it's sort of a surprise. You don't know they're there, which sort of comes back to the idea of Mordechai and Esther. Do we really know who they are, what they are, and Esther being in the king's household, but not knowing who Esther is? So it plays on that idea. We're also going to spend a little time with a lemon poppy seed cake. Mun is, of course, what we call poppy seeds in German and in Yiddish, and mun is, as we often do in Hebrew, and we see this a lot around Pesach and Rosh Hashanah, where we play with names of things and either their numerical formation or their vocabulary base, mun, hamon. So there's the relationship between them. And I thought this was very interesting to learn that it was the German Jewish immigration that brought poppy seeds to the United States. So I thought that was kind of cool on top of everything else. We're going to use a recipe that's straight out of Gil Marx's The World of Jewish Entertaining. I made it a few days ago for us, and Michal's been eating it as fast as she can get her hands on it. So it's really a lovely lemon poppy seed cake. Then we're going to finish up with a very festive couscous dish that is dealing with, it's a very ceremonial kind of couscous dish. And you can also make it with rice if you're not crazy about couscous or have issues with gluten. What you find throughout the Sephardic world is very celebratory rice or couscous grain dishes. And you'll see them in Morocco and any of the Sephardic into the Iberian Peninsula countries. When you have festivals, you'll see this mounded couscous or mounded grain with decorative fruits and vegetables in it. And that's going to be made with chickpeas, almonds, onions, and dried fruit. The reason we're doing that is that Faye Levy writes that what many of us know is that there is a tradition that Esther, when she moved into the king's palace, became a vegetarian because there was no kosher food. So no stop and no Cedar Market to run to when we're hungry. But there's also a strain of culinary development throughout this part of the world that's very vegan centric, lentils, beans, couscous, that sort of things. This is both a celebratory dish for your Purim Suda, and it's also a vegan dish. Everything except the beets is parve. You could make the beets instead of with yogurt. You could use tahina. You could use the same recipe, substitute tahina for the yogurt. But we're going to be using a thick Georgian style yogurt because I couldn't find any Bulgarian style yogurt, but I looked everywhere but there is no Bulgarian yogurt in northern New Jersey. And I didn't feel like going into New York City where I found Bulgarian yogurt, but I love you all, but not that much. So we're gonna use a Georgian yogurt, and I'll share a few words about the differences there when we get to that. And because it's the 14th, it is Valentine's Day, and so I have a little chocolate treat just that's very fast to share with all of you. So that's what we're gonna do. So we're gonna start with the cake because I need to get it in the oven. And let me pick this up. I have been, I've started a number of things because I had whipped the margarine and I'd added in the sugar, and I guess you can see that it's light and fluffy. So I'm going to put in the rest of the ingredients because I want to get this in the oven. And we'll get that started. So what I've done is I've put everything where it needs to be so that all I have to do is go on. So right now I've creamed the margarine and the sugar. I've made this recipe dairy and I've made it parve. It's delicious either way. So this one's going to be parve. The ones I made the other day were dairy, but there's really not a whole lot of difference. And I apologize in advance. I got my KitchenAid fixed the other day and it's really loud, but it's really powerful. So I'm going to turn it back on. I hope you can hear me above it. I'm going to add the eggs one at a time. Even though I put them in a measuring cup, I'm just going to let them sort of drop in one at a time. And then I'm going to scrape everything down. And I keep thinking I'll figure out some way to mount my iPad so that you can see differently, but it isn't happening. So I'm jealous of Amanda Hesser at Food 52 and Jacques Pepin at the foundation for how they have everything set up so that you can see what they're doing. So this, I'm going to sift. I don't often sift, but this recipe really responds well to sifting flour. And I'm going to suggest that you not buy pre-sifted flour because the flour is going to sit so long in the bag that the whole process of sifting is going to be worthless. But you sift to aerate, and this makes it a little bit lighter. So don't buy pre-sifted flour. Sift flour yourself, and all you need is a 99-cent strainer to do it. But I've already measured everything out. I'm going to move that over to the side. And I'm going to sift it right in to this. And I just shake it back and forth, as you see. It's all sifted in. Okay, so along with that, I'm going to put in the baking powder and the salt. So yeah, here we go. I've got 1 teaspoon of baking powder and half a teaspoon of salt. Start mixing this on a slow, because I'm going to add in the lemon juice now. Lemon juice. And a teaspoon of vanilla. Okay. And then I'm going to turn it off a minute, and I'm gonna add the poppy seeds. And then I'm going to see if I can set this. No, you really can't. Okay, so I bought myself a new toy, which I'm very excited about. I bought myself a microplane, which grates things like a dream. So what I'm going to do is grate the lemon zest, grate the lemon. And
I need help.
Why do you need help?
What do you need help with? What?
The volume control is not working.
Are you muted?
No, it's okay. Are you on an iPad or a computer? I don't know how.
This has an incredible lemon flavor to it. And I'm just going to mix it for a moment once I have the seeds and the zest in it. And the rest I will stir together as I put it in the pan. So I'm making it in a loaf pan, which is right here. And what I've done is I've put a little parchment paper in the loaf pan. I have a rectangle of parchment paper that I put in. And I'm also going to put a little spray in it. You can double the recipe and do this in a bump pan. And when I made it the other day, I made little loaves. I made mini loaves of it. So you can see, there's the little mini loaf. You can do this as cupcakes too. It makes a really lovely gift in Mishloach Manot. If you want to do something other than Hamantashen, because everybody's doing Hamantashen. So let's just get the rest of this out. I think I put everything in. Yeah, I did. Very good. I made a delicious cake the other day and left out an ingredient. We had no idea until afterwards when I opened up the microwave and saw that it was in the microwave and not in the cake, but we didn't know. And then I wrote the cookbook author and told her that. It was very funny.
Hi, everyone. I'm new. My name is Rosalind. Sorry I'm joining so late.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you. Pour all of this in the pan. And I'm going to pop it in the oven. Okay. So that takes care of our cake for right now. So now what we're going to do is move on to starting the couscous dish because it'll take the longest. And we're going to be using a number of the same things that we've used in the past to cook together, but we're going to start by toasting some blanched almonds. So blanched almonds are just the white ones with the skin removed. And the reason we're doing that is that I love the taste of almonds and I love the taste of almond skins, but they can get a little bitter sometimes. So we want to remove the skins of the almonds. So when I was at the market, they didn't have whole almonds. The recipe originally calls for whole almonds, but I picked up the slivered pieces, which are fine. But you want to get the white ones. You want to get them without any skin on them. And so what we're going to do is come on over here. Let's see if I can do this without cooking the iPad. And I'm going to put 2 tablespoons of oil in my pan. And I'm going to toast the almonds. And I will, there we go. So let me bring the almonds over here, and I'll be moving back and forth, so maybe I'll bring the recipe over here. So I'm going to give this a minute to heat up. Grab a wooden spoon. And let's see, I think I can put it on top of this. I'll put it back in the container it's in. Okay, did I bring the almonds over? Excellent. So I'm going to crank up the heat just a little bit to get it warm. Okay, so I'm going to, let's see if we can do this. I'm going to add the almonds. I'm just going to fry them for a few minutes. Get them a little bit golden. Let's see. For some reason, I can't take my screen off of the whole picture of everybody. But please let me know if you can see. If you can't, let me know.
I don't know where you are now. I can't find you.
I'm gone completely.
Oh,
aren't I?
you're in the middle now.
Hold
Okay,
on.
so Carol, your video's on. Okay,
Okay, wait.
there you
we're
are.
back. Okay, we're back. Okay, so yeah. So I'm just gonna fry this for a few minutes. This is a very heavy bottomed pot. So we'll give it a moment more. And I'm gonna also add some pine nuts because it's not in the recipe, but I think that pine nuts play very well with this. So I'm gonna throw a few pine nuts in too. We'll give it a moment. There we go. A little bit of a sizzle. This is a dish that you can make both carb or dairy. You could do this with some butter if you want, and you could make the couscous with butter, or you can use oil. This one goes either way. You can make it completely vegan, or as I said, just with a little bit of dairy. And you could also finish it when we're done with the whole thing. You could finish it with different cheeses, or you could also add some chicken or lamb to it. And you can see we're starting to get some color there. We just want a little bit of color, not a lot. Okay. All right, I'm gonna start scooping all this out. And once I've taken this out, I'm gonna put just a touch more oil in, and I'm gonna caramelize onions. I'm gonna do a quick caramelizing. If I'm not in a hurry, I sometimes when I caramelize onions, I can take about an hour and a half to do it. But I don't think this is gonna require that much time. So this is gonna probably be about 20 minutes or so. And I'm going to put this down for just a second. While I get the last of these nuts out. I will try and grow a third arm before our next time together. So that, as I said, I'm just going to add a drop more oil because the oil will be really important in caramelizing the onions. And then I've got my chopped onions here. So I'm just going to add the onions, turn the heat down a little bit, and start stirring them. There's a collection of onions and, oh, yeah, right. Did I turn that around? Sorry about that. Onions and shallots that are in here. And we don't want to burn them. We just want to start the process of getting them golden. And so I'm going to step back over here because I can step back and forth and deal with the onions while we work on something else. So what we're going to do is we're going to, the recipe for the vermicelli, the noodles with the boiled eggs and the olives is something that is served room temperature. So I've already gone ahead and made the pasta because you don't really need to watch me making pasta. I mean, I know I'm entertaining and all that, but we'll be okay without me watching me make pasta. But what I did was I made the pasta earlier and I also boiled the eggs. And you really, with the eggs, you boil them to the degree you like them boiled. I usually boil eggs for about 8 minutes. And I like the way they turn out at that level. So what I've done is I've gotten an angel hair pasta, which you can see is very, very thin pasta, because the idea is it's like hair. And what we're going to do is we're going to mix in some lemon juice and extra virgin olive oil. I've got the juice of a couple of lemons right here. And then 2 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil. Okay. And we want to emulsify this really well together. So I'm really going to whip it. And then I'm going to add a little bit of salt and pepper. And then once I've dressed the whole thing, I can taste it and see how it is and adjust that. Okay. And I'm going to toss this really well. Now, when I finished cooking the pasta, I rinsed it in cool running water to remove all the starch because I knew it was going to sit for a few minutes. I finished boiling it right before we started. And that makes it take the dressing really well. Okay, just a second. And then what I've done is I boiled some eggs and I have pitted some olives. Most of them are pitted and chopped, but a few of them are still whole because I think it looks really good together. And I'm going to get this tray. And I'm going to give this a little taste. That's lovely. Okay. And I'm going to put the pasta on the tray. And I'm going to put a bed of olives through the center. And then I'm going to take the eggs, oops, and the recipes. And I'm going to cut them into quarters. Break the stir everything. Oh, yes, ma'am. My cat is demanding that I pay attention to her rather than all of you.
I think your cat may want a taste.
She probably does.
You cut so carefully. It's nice to watch you.
I worked so hard at boiling and cracking the eggs so that they would stay whole. And then this is also one of those dishes that also would benefit from a little garnish of lemon zest as well. So I'm going to do that, if only because it's pretty. And then I have some fresh parsley that I chopped up that I think I'm going to finish it with just because it's also decorative. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to sprinkle a little salt and pepper over the eggs, because I think eggs benefit greatly from salt and pepper. And I'm going to finish the whole thing with some cracked pepper. And you can all ooh and ah appropriately when you see it.
Whoa, I
So-
think that's enough for all of us.
Ooh,
Have a taste.
that looks really good.
Okay, and I say this every time. Some of you do take me up on this, but if you do come by, I will socially distance, give you a little sample of everything. You know, you just and a bunch of people always come by afterwards, but the food is available. Okay, so anyway, that's our first dish. And at this point, the onions are looking very nice, so we're going to come back over here. And let's see. All right. Okay, at this point, I'm going to add a can of drained chickpeas. Let's see, sorry about that. So let me see. Where are we? There we are. Okay, let me get you. So I'm mixing in the chickpeas. Yes, ma'am. Hear you. I'm going to put in 3 tablespoons of sugar. And I'm going to put in cinnamon and ginger. Yes, ma'am, I hear you. I've got chopped fresh ginger. Let me get the cinnamon. Ah, here's the cinnamon. Gonna have to look at me for a minute. Oh, I wish you were here and could smell this. Because it's just heavenly. It's just heavenly. Oh my gosh.
I don't see you. Is there a reason for that?
I think she put a picture of, now she moved somewhere. I have to
Okay.
find her.
Are you there? Okay.
Oh, there you are.
Want
Okay.
me? Am I here?
Yes,
Okay, good.
we
Okay.
can't really see your face.
Okay,
but-
well,
We can hear you.
okay.
Hi, okay.
All right, so I just added some salt. Oh, I keep blocking it there. I really need a camera person. Okay, so I've added the salt, the cinnamon, the ginger, and the sugar. And I'm gonna let this cook. If I need to, I'll add a little bit of water from time to time because I want the chickpeas and everything to caramelize together. And so I think it needs a little touch of water. Okay, so while this is cooking, you know, couscous is one of those really simple things to make. What's that going on? Okay, all right, couscous is one of those really simple things to make. Couscous is cooked 1-to-1. So whatever amount of couscous you use, that's the amount of water you use. And I'm going to flavor this with I'm gonna add a little bit of extra virgin olive oil. You could use margarine, you could use butter. You could use a basic olive oil too, but I happen to like this extra virgin olive oil that I've been cooking with. I talked a little bit about it at the Hanukkah program. And it's just this really lovely fruity. Where's the top? There we go. We're gonna bring the water to a boil. Let me turn the chickpeas down a little bit and let them cook. We're gonna bring the water to a boil and then we're gonna just add the couscous. And I'm using whole wheat couscous. You can use plain couscous or whole wheat couscous. And I have 2 cups of water in there. So I'm gonna add, let's crank the heat up. I'm gonna add 2 cups of couscous. You can make more, you can make less. All depends on how much you want. So, let's see. Oh, let me open this bag of couscous. Okay. And while that's waiting, I'm just gonna get back over here and see how everybody's doing. Let it cook for a little longer. What's happening back there? Let me crank that up and see if I can't bring it to a boil a little bit faster. I'm going to taste the chickpeas and see how they are. Oh, yum. Okay. Okay. We're going to keep that cooking. That'll be there in a minute. Now, while all this is working, I've put 1/3 of a cup of water of lemon juice and 1/3 of a cup of sugar in this pot. And I'm going to bring it to a simmer. And I'm going to make a glaze for the lemon poppy seed cake, which is baking along very nicely. Can everybody see?
Yes.
Okay, good. So we're going to let the sugar dissolve and make a syrup. Make a simple syrup of lemon and sugar, which we will use to glaze everything. Now, at this point, I had earlier taken a bunch of mixed fruit. Here we go. Mixed dried fruit. This includes dark raisins, light raisins, apricots, dates, barberries, and I think that's it. Apricots, dates, raisins, barberries. Oh, and some cranberries. And I soaked them in some hot water till they plumped up. And now
What
I'm
are
gonna add-
barberries? I don't know what they are.
They are a berry. These are from Uzbekistan. not just any barberries, but they're a berry. And when they're dried, they are very tiny and red. Can everyone see? And they have a sweet sour sort of taste. But I was looking for just different things that come from this whole region that reflect the cuisine. So as you can see, I've poured this all in. And I'm just going to let it cook a little bit longer. And a watch pot never boils. So there we go. And in a moment, we'll have some boiling water and I'll put up the couscous. But I can see that this is starting to simmer a bit on the edges. So I'm going to give it a moment longer. It looks like most of the sugar has dissolved. I'm going to turn that down. And I'm going to leave the chickpeas on a very, very low heat. Actually, I think I'm going to swap out the pots because this without starting fire. This is the heavier heat. There we go. Okay, no fire. And I didn't burn myself either. Let's bring this up to a boil. And we'll keep that warming back. And we're going to turn the heat off over here now because this is fine. All right, I want to get the couscous in the pot so I can turn my attention to the beets. This will continue to cook. With the mixture of colors, and also it gets kind of jammy. All right, we're almost there. And let's see. A couple of cups. Now into the couscous, I'm going to add, I put the oil, I'm going to put in some salt. There we go. I'm going to put in some salt. I'm going to put in the couscous. I'm going to stir it. And I'm going to cover it because couscous is one of those things that just magically cooks. And then while, oops, you're gone again. Let me pull you back. There we go. And then while it's cooking, let's see, what can I put behind there? I think I can put this here. I'm going to grate some orange because I'm going to finish the couscous with a little bit of orange. Maybe a touch of lemon flavor to it. Then I'm going to cut the orange. Let me straighten you up a little bit more. Let's see. Maybe the preserved lemons. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to squeeze some of the orange juice directly into the couscous while it's cooking, while it's steaming. And then the rest I'm going to squeeze into the chickpeas.
You don't waste a drop,
No reason to.
right?
This is a particularly juicy orange. I'm going to pull some of the pieces, some of the flesh out and throw it in because I don't want to waste it. And I've got other things I'm doing later this evening for myself that I'll use the rest of the orange for. But this is a really, really juicy, yummy orange. I'm very, very pleased with it. I'm going to turn
What
it
kind of orange is it, Carol?
navel, just a really nice navel. And when I took it out this afternoon and let it come to room temperature, it just felt really good. So I knew it was going to be fine to work with. Okay, I have a whole bunch of orange peel here, which I'm going to set aside and we'll use when I'm finishing the couscous dish. And now what we're going to do is the beet dish. And as I said, you could make the beets with tahina if you want to keep it dairy free. Now, yogurt. So this is Georgian yogurt, which is very much like Bulgarian yogurt. And Bulgarian yogurt gets its name from the bacteria that's so prevalent in it. But the thing that's really great about this style of yogurt is that it's very, very thick, and you want it to be really thick. If you're using something else that is a little thin, you might want to strain it. And yeah, everybody uses cheesecloth, but you can also use a strainer like this with a paper towel in it and just let it sit, especially if you have cheapy paper towels. Or you could double strain like this, putting 2 in and just leave it in your refrigerator overnight. So oftentimes that's what I do because, let me turn that down. I never remember if I have cheesecloths or not. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get some of the yogurt, which is very thick. And to this, I'm going to add some chopped garlic.
Carol, can you use Greek yogurt?
If you do, you might want to strain it. You really want it to be as dry as possible, just a step before cheese. I'm going to add some garlic. And I'm going to mix this together.
That was Sherry's question.
Okay. Yeah, what you want is, you want it thick. You could possibly use a Bavina Lavana, one of the really dry ones as well also. Okay, so, all right, so I've mixed the garlic in. And the idea on this dish is that it's going to be a surprise because we're going to hide the garlic and the yogurt underneath and sort of build it up. So I hope you can see what I'm doing is straining this in, and I'm going to spread it on the bottom of the plate. And again, you can do this with peanuts, same thing. You could even get, the prepared peanut to do that. And then on top of this, right. Oh, I put them here, right. I was thinking ahead. Okay, so I've got some sliced beets here. As you can see, I've already sliced them. And to this, I'm going to add a little bit of the lemon and the olive oil because I want to have some left over to serve on the side. So I think what I wrote was, 1 teaspoon worth. Okay. So I'm going to put 1 teaspoon worth of, no, I'll put 2 teaspoons, what the hell, and 2 tablespoons of the olive oil. Okay. And I'm going to gently toss these. With all of that. Sprinkle with a little salt and pepper. There we go. And I have some chopped parsley and mint. You can see I'm mixing this all together. And I'm going to cover the yogurt with the beets. Oops. Have to do a little cleaning up. Okay. And then let's see, I have some chopped walnuts. So let me bring this over here. And you can see, so we're going to finish it with some chopped walnuts and more of the herbs. And then I'm just going to clean up the plate. Okay, and we're going to put this over here. And I'll let everybody see, and you can ooh and ah over this. So there we go.
Ooh, ah.
Ooh ah, thank you, Lainey. And this is Dolce. Want to say hello? She's not the center of the attention, so she's very upset. Okay, so at this point, no, she's just talking because she's very upset that she's being ignored. Okay, so we're going to work on putting the chickpeas together now that everything is pretty much cooked. Here, let me turn the heat off there. The couscous looks fine. Yeah, I hear you. All right. So I have whole wheat couscous here. It's had a little bit of sugar and orange juice added to it and salt. And I'm also going to double check it to see how it tastes. And I may finish it with a little more olive oil. So I'm going to add a little bit more olive oil to it like that. To fluff, and I'm fluffing it. I'm going to taste it. See what I might do. I'm going to use more salt. gonna sprinkle, what the heck, I'm gonna sprinkle a little cinnamon on it, because I think that would be nice with everything else. And since I've got cinnamon in the chickpeas and also ginger, you could also, maybe I'll sprinkle both, because that would be nice to have those flavors sort of floating about everywhere. And I'm gonna add all this orange rind. Smells great. Where's the ginger? And there's the ginger. It's open, yeah, it's open. Okay. Oh gosh. The heat of the couscous has warmed up the orange peel, and it's really quite lovely. So now we're going to start to assemble this. So here's another platter. And this is going to be mounted like a traditional couscous dish. So what I'm going to do is start by putting the couscous in the center. Bring you over a little bit and see if I can do this without losing everybody. Okay. And then, see how hot is that? It's kind of warm. Let me get a pot holder. This will work. Okay. I'm going to take the chickpea onion mixture, and I'm going to circle the couscous with it.
It's like you're framing it.
Yes. Yes. All right, then I'm going to take the almonds and the pine nuts that we toasted earlier, and I'm going to sprinkle them over the whole thing.
Can I get into my email?
Shh, you have to be quiet.
And as you can see, it's really very elegant.
I'm recording this.
Matthew asked me to go on my emails.
Really very, very elegant.
Oh.
Okay, hold on a second. Then the next thing I'm going to do give me just a second to see how things are going in the oven. Very well. Then I'm going to get a little bit of confectioner's sugar. And this is an optional addition. I'm just gonna get a touch of confectionery sugar. And sprinkle it on the top just a little bit. And finish it with another. Where'd I put it? Microphone, here we go. Another little bit of orange zest. So this is really a very festive dish. A very festive dish. If you have spent time with Sparty cookbooks, you'll see, oftentimes you'll see festive rice dishes that are served like this. The idea being, let me put this over here so you can see it. It's kind of sort of a gilding the lily kind of thing. So let's now take a look at that. You can ooh and ah, okay? And
Ooh.
yeah, so,
Ooh,
Yeah.
ah.
ooh ah, it's okay. All right, so, and there's more nuts. I'm gonna add some more nuts. Okay, because they're yummy. Okay, so now the lemon loaf is still cooking along. So I'm going to show you a little. We're going to do a little Valentine's Day treat. Okay? Can you see me? Okay? Because can everyone see
Yes.
me?
Well,
Okay.
your head is cut off, but
Well,
yeah,
we don't.
yeah.
You don't need to see my head. You can see what's going on.
I want to see your beautiful face.
Okay. So I'm going to take a measuring cup. And I'm going to take some chocolate, and I happen to have a piece of milk chocolate with hazelnuts. But when I did this yesterday, I used dark chocolate, and I'm going to put it in the microwave for long enough to melt it. So let's see what happens with 30 seconds. And here are my muffins. And I was thinking about saving this for Pesach, but then I decided, we're getting together and it's Valentine's Day, so we have to do something. Let's see. There's no real recipe for this, okay? Let's see how that is. I do have some interesting things to put in it. So I've got some gooseberries and raspberries and some really pretty little mandarin pieces. Let's see how the chocolate looks. I was also worried I was going to have a little dead time here, and I was right. So, let me see. Let me melt this a little bit more. Oh my gosh, that's so good. So good. This recipe actually comes from Jacques Pepin and a program that he did with cooking with his 12-year-old granddaughter. And it's really a lovely program. And so I've melted the chocolate. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little bit in the bottom of the cups. And I'm going to spread it out so that it's flat along the bottom. Okay. And then, can everybody see? I'm worried yeah, you can see. Okay, I'm going to take pieces of fruit and press them in. And let's see if I have any plain. Yes, I do. Oh, I've also got a few chopped up apricots, dried apricots. And a few almonds. You want to make sure everything is pressed into the chocolate so that it will stick. And as I said, there's no recipe to this. This is really whatever you have lying around in your house. And then I thought the Burberrys were just so pretty. So I'm going to put a few in. Get that in. Okay. And then we're just going to stick these in the refrigerator. And then I'll take out what I made yesterday. Stick them in the refrigerator for half an hour just to firm up. And this is what I made yesterday. I used dark chocolate for these. And I'm going to get some mint. Sprinkle a little chopped mint on them. And let's see. There we go. Ah, there it is. Okay. Now you can ooh and ah over the little chocolate tarts. And you see they're just thin little pieces of chocolate with fruit and finished with the chopped mint. Okay, so
Looks delicious.
they are. Let's see what's happening in the oven with the bread. Oh, it's looking very nice. Let me see. It may not be done. No, it's not quite done. So let me tell you, because it's going to need a little more time, what I did, because I have the mini loaves. So, and then we can talk about a few things. All right, so we'll talk about a few things. Yeah. So again, with the beet salad, if you've got the recipes from, was it from Hanukkah? Was it from Hanukkah that I did? What was the last? I think the last time we cooked together was Hanukkah, so it may be Rosh Hashanah. Oh, Rosh Hashanah, when we cooked together, I did that platter of the 7 days of creation, and there were all the different foods on it. And there was beets. There was a beet with tahina recipe there. You could use that if you want to stay away from dairy. You could use that. So you could take that tahina base and use it to line the plate, and then put the beets on top of that. So you could do that substitution there. With the pasta, if you are not crazy about lemon and olive oil and wanted to dress it in a different way, just something that works with the olives and the eggs as well. But you could even make probably a balsamic vinaigrette or something like that and use that as well there. The chickpeas, I think are just lovely as they are. But again, this is the kind of dish you would also find with cubes of lamb or maybe cubes of chicken with it as well. And I think it would probably be lovely with a full flavorful fish. You would want something that really had some flavor to it or was cooked in such a way that had some flavor to it. Or you could take a mild wild fish, white fish, and cook it with the spices and the herbs that are in all of that and use it as well. You could finish it with some crumbled feta cheese or maybe some goat cheese as well, or a scoop of mascarpone. You could put some mascarpone out on the side and maybe mix in some orange zest to that. So that gives you some ideas to do about that. And the other thing is that, most people give hamantaschen, but you can make your mishloach manot with other things besides hamantaschen. The idea is to have at least 2 brachas, 2 blessings in your box. So one of the things I like about making the tea loaves and cupcakes is that you can take your loaf and wrap it up and put it in a little decorative box. And you can take a little mandarin. So we've got 2 different brachot right now. And if you're feeling fancy, you could add some dried fruit. There's always dried fruit in my house. So here's a few dates. And wrap them up. And there you go. With a little mishloach manot.
Very nice.
So something to think about. Let's see how we are here. Okay. Let's see how wet it is. Okay. So I'm going to poke holes in this. I hope you can see what I'm doing. And then
We can.
you can, good. Okay. I'm going to take the lemon sauce and I'm going to drizzle it over it. Okay. Now at this point, it's got to cool. So I can't take it out right now because it'll fall apart. But I do have this other small loaf that I did all of that with. And I'm just going to slice it. And I'm gonna garnish it with some of the golden berries and the raspberries. And a little bit of mint. Let's see how the milk chocolate cups are. They're not quite ready to come out, but you can see the dark chocolate ones. So let's come on over here. and you can take a look at everything. So here we have it.
Ooh.
Okay. The world of Purim. The poppy seeds from Eastern Europe, the beets as well.
Wow.
The Balkans go back and forth, and the couscous, which is very such a very clear reminder of the Persian aspect of the holiday. And again, as I said, any kind of dressing you would want for your pasta is fine. You see the reference to hamon in the eggs and the olives, the poppy seeds, and that's our program.